Thank you. Let me add my welcome. And with Vijay's permission, I'll take 90 seconds to run a brief commercial about ICT Academy. Thank you very much for supporting this institution, which has grown from strength to strength. I must acknowledge the work of Sivakumar, the CEO of ICT Academy, and the team that he has built for doing this wonderful job. We have a lot of academicians here, teachers, professors, principals, who have over the last several years created so many bright students who have joined the industry, made this industry successful, brought us all here. And I must thank all the teachers for creating those students who make us all look good. Thank you very much. Ganesh alluded to the point that the future is already here. It's just that it is not evenly distributed. This is something that a science fiction writer once said. You know, that phrase is being used in a number of different ways. It's not as though we do not have wealth here in this country. We do, but it's not evenly distributed. It's not as though we don't have knowledge in this country. We have tremendous amount of knowledge, except that it's not uniformly distributed. And that's the task that many of us are trying to accomplish. Again, going back to what ICT Academy has done over the last 4 or 5 years, since we started functioning here, the proportion of people from Tamil Nadu who are participating in the ICT industry has gone up. Our market share in the Indian IT industry is higher than ever before, thanks to all the teachers, the principals, head of institutions, and the ICT Academy. Number one. And thanks to the industry also. The industry has also changed its model. Industry earlier used to visit a few select campuses and do bulk of the hiring from those leading institutions. About 80 or 90% of all the intake of the industry would go to these campuses. But there is a changing trend that we notice where all the major companies, including companies that are present here in Chennai, as well as companies who are trying to establish their presence in Tamil Nadu, like companies like Zensar and Mindtree and Sintel, they do a lot of off-campus recruitment. So much so, it appears that in the next 1 to 2 years, the off-campus recruitment would be more or less 50% of the total fresh or the engineering graduates and the arts and science graduates recruitment that go into the IT industry. That's a great opportunity for all the colleges that subscribe to ICT Academy, because the students from these colleges, which are predominantly from Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities, seem to gain a greater proportion of off-campus recruitment than the mainstream colleges. This is again a statistic that we have seen evolving. We don't know if it is a trend yet, but we are watching it. If the level of off-campus recruitment goes up, we believe that there is a greater proportion of people from Tier 2 and Tier 3 centers. These colleges are really top-notch Tier 1 colleges, just that they're located in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities, because of which they don't get noticed. But now, with this new industry change, for which I'm thankful to the industry, we have a greater proportion of people entering the industry. And that's another great opportunity for all the academicians who are present here. I just want to make a brief point. The students that come out of colleges, and before I make that point, I just want to allude to the point that Ganesh mentioned about the 3 C's: ability to communicate, ability to collaborate, and ability to learn or gain competency through continuous learning. This is something that I saw in practice in some of the colleges in remote parts of Tamil Nadu. Recently, I was in a place called Manjakudi. There is a Dayananda Saraswati College of Arts and Science. So there was a graduation ceremony, a number of us attended. And I found that all the commerce, arts and science students were all from that neighboring place, from in and around 18 villages that surround Manjakudi. All of them, 100% of them, have been placed. They have found a job some nearby, but many outside Manjakudi and Kumbakonam in other parts of India. Which is a great testament, one, to the opportunities that are available, but more importantly, to the type of education and the values that college has incorporated in all the students. I had an opportunity to talk to some of the students. I was sufficiently impressed by their communication ability, the way they had learned whatever was taught to them, the values that they practiced, the way they were dressed, etc., that immediately after coming back, I recommended to our office in Cognizant, saying that's one of the campuses that we must visit to hire arts and science graduates. So the impact that this kind of overall education that's creating in terms of opportunity for students is phenomenal. There is also a larger trend that we are noticing. This is clearly a trend. This was evident in the Western world, and now it's coming to India as well. Students, after their education, be it primary or higher education, have three career options. Either to pursue a professional career in a company, in an industry, which is where the bulk of the people would go, or continue education, higher education, research, and stay in the research line and take up an academic position, which is a second line that's available to many other people. And the third one, of course, is entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship, setting up something on their own. In some areas, it's out of necessity that you have to be self-employed. In many other areas, by choice, people have an idea and pursue entrepreneurship. Either education and research, entrepreneurship, or a professional career in the company. In India, it's predominantly professional career. People, after completing their graduation, want to get a job immediately. And perhaps they can switch to other forms, other opportunities, or the other two streams later, but the immediate thing that they look at is a job. Whereas in the Western world, over the last several years, the proportion of people continuing higher education and proportion of the people who are entrepreneurially oriented has been high compared to those who are seeking a professional career. The data, what is available, indicates that India is also going through a certain level of transition there. Not all the students coming out of colleges, whether they are engineering students or arts or science or whatever they pursue, there is a clear desire, ambition on their part to look at the other two streams. Continuing education and research, as well as entrepreneurship, more importantly entrepreneurship. One very clear indicator is in our industry, in the technology industry, where the innovation appears to be the highest at this point in time, and innovation in technology industry is extremely important for innovation in all the other industries, as has been demonstrated, including the example that KK gave about the healthcare industry and how that is impacted by the changes that are happening in the technology industry. NASSCOM started this 10,000 startups program, and the enthusiasm with which young students coming with ideas fresh out of college participating in this scheme has been mind-boggling. Never expected that kind of a participation. So much so that when we, I must take one local example. TAI, the local entrepreneurship chapter which promotes entrepreneurship here, partnered with one of the local companies. They have a big center. I'm sure you'll get to hear PayPal's manager, the general manager in India, Anupama Pahuja, talk about it today. Collaborated to set up an incubation center where PayPal provided free facilities and mentorship to entrepreneurs. And there were literally hundreds of applications from young minds, young college graduates to come and occupy this space and start up a company on their own. So that's a very, very encouraging sign, and there are plenty of opportunities in that area that all the academicians here should look at it as a great opportunity. Many of the colleges, many of you I'm sure have set up incubation centers in your respective institutions. That's a very good first step that you have taken. And to connect that incubation center with industry participants like PayPal, other institutions, will be a great way of collaborating to see greater number of people participate in this new innovative culture that we are beginning to develop. Let me add my welcome to Mr. Ramachandran, who has just walked in, the IT Secretary from the Government of Tamil Nadu. And the last point that I want to make is about the opportunities in the area of education and higher research. Okay, again represented by one of the speakers here today, Dr. Rajiva Karandikar, who is here. He is the director of the Chennai Mathematical Institute, an institute that's focused on pure research. It's difficult to get into this institute. They offer Bachelor of Science in Mathematics and Computer Science programs, a degree that you earn with a lot of research inputs. It's difficult to get into CMIs, far more difficult than even to get into an IIT. That's the kind of a reputation that they have. And that's an institution that is creating a lot of what are known as data scientists. Data scientists are the new breed of people, specialists, who participate in the analytics industry. That's a fast-growing industry, a segment of the IT industry. Tremendous opportunity in that area, and again, would encourage all the academic institutions to look at the CMI type of model, collaborate with them, and encourage far more research-based activities in their respective institutions, because it is quite rewarding. To just give you an example, anyone who joins CMI, even at the undergraduate level, BScs, they don't have to pay anything for the most part. No tuition fee, there's hostel, it's a fully residential program, everything taken care of by the institution, with of course industry and the government support, predominantly the government support. That's the level of support, encouragement that's available for young minds to pursue research activities. And I'll just conclude by giving a simple example of the most recent activity, WhatsApp acquisition by Facebook. Much talked about story, just a small company, small in terms of the number of employees, just about 55 employees in that company. But a third of the employees in that company are all people with a research background and who are continuing to pursue research in addition to working in that organization. Need I say more about the importance of pursuing research and higher education in order to be enormously successful in the technology industry? I hope you find this conference useful in the rest of the 2 days, today and tomorrow, and network with as many people as possible, because collaboration is the way to create greater opportunities for yourselves and the students that you teach. Thank you very much.